Hey world, Chamia here with the Just Chamia Show with my weekly I'm Just Saying segment for the week of December 8th, 2014. So I'd like to share with you what I'm reading this week. This week was a week of reflection for me, and I'm revisiting a book that I've read before. It's called Necessary Endings by Dr. Henry Cloud. So this book was gifted to me by a dear uncle of mine, and it's a great book that I recommend that you read, and I recommend that you keep on your shelves for reference and reflection. In this book, Dr. Cloud talks about embracing seasons of change, about pruning for your own growth, and about necessary endings of all kinds of relationships, both personal and professional. So it's totally emotionally healthy, and something that's completely normal and that we should all do. So check out Necessary Endings by Dr. Henry Cloud. Great book. Check it out. Keeping with the theme of this being a week of reflection for me, any real music lover will tell you that it's not always about listening to what's current, but it's about listening to music that speaks to you, that moves your soul, and that you connect with. That being said, I'm revisiting what I feel is a classic, slept on, but well documented love story. Sex Down by Link. Link has written music for all kinds of folks, but on this album, I really think that he hit it out of the park. And I love hits such as number 4, number 6, number 10, and number 11. But my favorite jam on this is number 12, where I feel that he really just poured his heart out and sung the hell out of that song. So check this out. Sex Down by Link. Add it to your collection. I want to take a moment to talk about a few stories that have been on my mind this week. The first, just over a week ago, 12-year-old Ronan Shimizu of Folsom, California, committed suicide. Let me start by saying that it's a tragedy anytime a child dies. It's a total tragedy anytime a child dies. And it's thought that bullying may have played a big part in his decision to end his life. Parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, other relatives, neighbors, teachers, community, we need to love, nurture, and hug our children. All children taunt and tease and test boundaries, but it's up to us to teach them the difference between that and bullying. It's important that we educate them on how to ask for help, and it's important that we teach them the importance of loving themselves, and loving and accepting others. There is no such thing as an identical individual. There is no such thing as an identical individual. Kids, next time someone comes to you and says you're different or teases you for being different, tell them, yeah, I am different. And guess what? So are you. Each one of us is an individual, therefore each one of us is different. You need to love yourself. You need to know yourself and accept yourself for who you are. And accept others for who they are too. Love yourself and hug yourself every day. That's something I encourage us all to do. Nobel Peace Prizes were awarded this week to Malala Yousafzai, an education activist from Pakistan, and Kailash Satyarthi of India. Now, pardon me for misspelling or mispronouncing their names, but most important is these two individuals and the work that they're doing. So the first, Satyarthi, is an advocate for children's rights, and he's worked over 30 years to liberate children involved in victims of slave labor. So during his acceptance speech, this is what he had to say, some of what he had to say. Carrying the dead body of a colleague who is fighting for the protection of children is something I'll never forget. Even as I sit here to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, I am representing the sound of silence of millions of children who are left behind. Wow. Very powerful, and this man is a treasure to the world. He is amazing. He's doing great critical work that we all should be a part of. At 17, Malala is the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner ever. And she was shot in the head by the Taliban in 2012 for advocating and campaigning for girls to be educated in her country. World, if you want to know what a superhero looks like, Google her. She's awesome. She's an example of a real life superhero. Amazing. Check them out. Here's a story that we should stop talking about, okay? Bill Cosby and these rape allegations. Rape is a horrible crime, and I stand by any victim of rape and their right to justice. I stand by them in that. But I don't believe that is what this really is. This is a witch hunt. This is an attempt to publicly humiliate and lynch a man who's been a national treasure and enriched the lives of millions with his creative genius. I don't know if he did or didn't do what he's being accused of, but to all you ladies coming out of the woodwork like termites 30 to 40 years later, I say, shame on you. Shame on you. Why are you doing this now? For any other reason other than to destroy his reputation and to get 15 minutes of fame for yourselves. Janice Dickinson, really, nothing else. Stop, people. Media, stop reporting on it. Tabloids, stop selling it. People, stop listening to it. And termites, go back into the wood where you belong. Shout out to Jill Scott for speaking up on behalf of Bill Cosby and keeping it real. Hey girl, love you. Hair flip on that. Okay, so the New York Medical Examiner ruled or decided or shared the results of the autopsy on Eric Garner and said that his death was in fact a homicide by chokehold. So people have been protesting nationwide, as I think they should be. However, I do think that we need a more structured way to deliver this message, and it needs to be a unified message. I'm not sure what the message is of stealing from people and looting and tearing up stuff and blocking freeways at late hours. I don't know what the message of that is. But if you're going to send a message and you're going to block businesses, why don't you do so during business hours, protesters? I'm just saying. I think protesters in Richmond, California had the right idea, standing side by side with police officers. Kudos to Richmond Police Chief Chris Magnus, who took to the streets with the protesters and was seen holding a hashtag Black Lives Matter sign. I think that's really awesome that he was standing in solidarity saying, yes, we do need to do something about this unjust violence of police officers against civilians. So wonderful. Kudos to you and kudos to the Richmond Police Department. I think it's awesome. I'm just saying that there's a better way to get our message across and have a real attention-getting impact. My suggestion, my proposal is we have a National Day Without a Brother, NDWB. So this is a day not just for black men and black women, but for all people of color or for anyone who wants to stand for this cause. So, and the cause being prevention of murder and violence of police against civilians, like what happened to Eric Garner and the gross number of injustices that happen to people of color every day. NDWB would take place in the middle of a week. Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, a work day, a school day. So someday in the middle of a week. And to maximize impact on National Day Without a Brother, don't go to work. Don't send your kids to school. And most importantly, Don't spend a dime. That's right. No spending on National Day without a brother. The best way to show that Black lives matter, that people of color matter, is to let America, to let law enforcers, to let lawmakers and corporations and bigots and all these people out there see how great of an impact we really have on our society and how each life has a significant impact on this American machine. So, on National Day without a brother, which is going to be in the middle of a week, no going to work, no going to school, no spending, and organized protests in every city. We need to have our heavy hitters out there to speak words of encouragement and empowerment to people on this day. So I'm saying, let's have Al Sharpton in New York. Let's have Danny Glover in Oakland. Let's have Tavis Smiley in DC, Farrakhan in Los Angeles, Oprah in Houston. Let's have Whoopi come off the View and share her point of view in New Orleans. Let's have the preachers of LA going to Atlanta and speaking to people there. I'm saying, let's have all of our celebrities use the power and the voices and the platforms that they have to rally with their people, our nation on National Day without a brother. Use your celebrity on this day to stand in solidarity. That means no concerts on that day, no radio promotions on that day, no filming if you're in film or television. No filming on that day. Instead, come to speak to people, your people. I propose a day in February for a National Day without a brother, but I'm open to suggestions. So, Jesse Jackson and Reverend Al Sharpton, Oprah, Shonda Rhimes, Van Jones, call me. So, I'm just saying, folks, there's a better way. There is a better way to get our message across and to have a more impactful discussion and dialogue and really instigate change. And change is the point, right? Until next time, be better and be a blessing.